It's already been 3 years since I've got my iPad Pro. It's finally time to make a video on whether it was worth it or a notebook would have been sufficient. At first, I was against using iPads for note taking, but let's see where I stand on now. Price, which is the first obstacle that comes in mind when talking about iPads. You would think iPads are at a high price, but in reality they are much cheaper than you would expect. You have to keep in mind the value that iPads offer. When getting an iPad, you are not only getting a notebook, but you are getting also a versatile compact machine. I use my iPad for note taking, making videos, media watching, and much more. But let's just stick to note taking for this video. Depending on where you live, a baseline model iPad is $330, but you can get a cheaper one used. Yes, that is still much higher than a $5 notebook, but it's like having an unlimited notebook in a slim factor. So, how convenient are iPads? I'll tell you now, carrying one iPad is much easier than carrying one book, let alone carrying a bunch of notebooks for your classes of the day. That in itself is what prompted my change at first. Carrying around a heavy backpack is not what I usually prefer, so when iPads started becoming popular, I quickly got interested. iPads are around 500 grams of weight. I'm not a weight expert, but that should be a lesser weight than a book, or a medical book at least. The iPad is also a stylish and modern looking device. It's nice to carry around in uni or in cafes. It is also easy to carry around anywhere. It's compact and fits in almost any backpack. And of course, it's also slim. Now, how do iPads realistically perform against notebooks? I don't like to take notes often. I like to annotate more. But when I do, I used to like the old way, using a pen and paper. That swiftly changed when I got my iPad. The ease of use of this machine is phenomenal. At first you'd have some getting used to, but as soon as you get your note-taking application ready and the rest of your settings, you are in for a great experience. Writing on iPad is different than from on paper. It is way smoother on the iPad. The Apple Pencil is way too smooth on the iPad. You might like it or you might not, so you'll have to try it on for yourself. But I will tell you that I found myself writing way more on the iPad than I would on a normal pen and paper, or for longer periods of time at least. On the iPad, you can organize your notes into folders and subfolders, so you have a better chance of finding them on demand. Now let's dive into more detail about the experience itself. If you are considering getting an iPad for note-taking or instead of a normal notebook, you would need a good application to do so. There are many options to choose from: Notability, GoodNotes, Notes, and Exodo. I use Notability, but you can also use Notes' native Apple application. This note I used to make another video on how to use the iPad as a scanner. If you are interested, go and watch it. It's a really nice video and it's going viral right now. I will use Notability for this video as it is the application of choice for myself. Now, when talking about the iPad for note-taking, you'd have to consider how writing feels on the iPad itself. Writing on the iPad is way too smooth actually. It's very nice. As you can see, it doesn't take as much effort as writing on a piece of paper would take. But I do feel that writing on paper is a little more steady as there's more friction while you are writing. So you'd have to take that into consideration. That was at first, but now I do prefer writing on the iPad more, as I do feel it takes less effort to write. And this way I can write more or write for longer periods of time. Now, one thing you'll have also to take into consideration when writing on the iPad, you want to make it as slim as possible so that it feels more like a piece of paper. If you have a bulky case, or any case, if you actually mind the case itself, you can just remove it and use the iPad itself. This way it's actually slim and it's easier to move around on the desk. Now, the iPad compared with the notebook, it is much slimmer, as you can see right here. And they are about the same weight. So the iPad can be beneficial to you if you have many notes or you carry around multiple of books while going to university or just in general. Now, what's nice about the iPad is the ability to drag and drop pictures from the internet. As you can see here, this was my attempt in drawing the posterior triangle of the neck. But on the iPad, I don't have to draw it. I can just go to Safari, search for the posterior triangle of the neck and go to images. And from here, I can just open them side by side this way, and I can just drag and drop the image of choice into the notes that I have. And I can even enlarge it and size it accordingly to my liking. This is also nice as at the same time I'm taking a note, I can open another application on the side, have it be Safari or just another book so that I have my sources next to me. What's also nice about the iPad is having the ability or having the choices to choose from when it comes to the pencil itself you write with. It's really nice. You have unlimited colors and unlimited options to the style of pen you use, instead of carrying around all of these pens with you in your backpack. Now, if you don't like how smooth the iPad screen is, you can always get a paper-like screen protector. I don't have one as I started to like these screen protectors that I have. Yes, it is smooth, but it is what I like about it. The screen protector that I have is the Panzer glass. It's, in my opinion, the best one. So as always, let me show you how you can open a book and the notes at the same time. I can just drag and drop. As easy as that. Now that's what I like most about the iPad. Now, what you can do with the notebook, but you can do in the iPad, is the ability to annotate here on the book itself. That's really nice. And if you make a mistake, you can just remove it. The iPad that I have here is the iPad Pro 11-inch version. It is the same size as the iPad Air. But I want to show you in comparison how it would compare with an A4 paper. So here is my iPad. I hope you can still see it through the paper. And here is how it compares with my iPad. It's an A4 paper. The 12.9-inch version iPad is almost the same as the size of the A4 paper. So you can see for yourself how it compares and which one you would actually need for yourself. But I've said it before, I like the 11-inch more than the 12.9-inch version as it is easier to carry around and it is less heavy than the 12.9-inch version. And with the iPad, you can also highlight text and notes as you like, and you don't have to carry another pen with you or another highlighter in your bag. So here is the iPad side by side with a normal notebook, and here is the thickness difference to see yourself. Now here is how the iPad looks like, and here is how the notebook looks like. Now you tell me which one you would actually prefer to carry around with you. And have a look at the back of the iPad right here. It's way too elegant and clean. And if you have a case on your iPad, you can always tilt it to your liking. And that is not an option available always on a notebook. And now I want to show you how easily it fits in any backpack you want. Now here is a backpack that I actually like, that I have. It's a compact backpack and it's about the same size as the iPad. I'll just open it and I'll put it in this compartment. And you'll see for yourself how easily the iPad fits. Just as easy. And of course I need to turn it off. That was it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now you tell me in the comments if you will get an iPad or you will just stick to notes the old way, using pen and paper. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one.